Today we will start with the new chapter that is called respiration and breathing and exchange of gases. Okay, so let us start our discussion from that point only. Have you ever heard about these words, breathing, exchange of gases, or something like that?
Yes, ma'am.
What are they?
Ma'am, breathing is the process where the air is inhaled and exhaled, and exchange of gases takes place in our lung from the surface of the lung via blood and water.
Great. So you people have quite a good idea about the breathing and exchange of gases. But many chapters you studied in lower grade, we are going to study them once again in this grade. And breathing and exchange of gases is one of them, which is very important chapter. And in this chapter, we will talk about the process of exchange of gases, which is essential because in our body we have respiration occurring in each and every cell. As we are anaerobes, for respiration process which goes ahead with production of energy, and we know that we cannot survive without energy. As I am talking with you, you people are sitting at one place listening to me, responding to my lecture. You will walk, you will change your rooms, any activities you do, you will be requiring energy. Now, do you think while we sleep, we also require energy?
Yes, ma'am.
Why we are to sleeping, we are not moving?
Ma'am, but when we sleep, the internal body is in repair mode, so it requires energy.
So definitely that means you understand the importance of this chapter, that without energy, we cannot go ahead with a single step. Okay. So obviously energy is required. Now respiration is cellular level chemical respiration, where basically you studied that glucose, that is C6H12O6, is broken down to form ATP. Aerobic respiration will be requiring oxygen. If it is anaerobic respiration, it can occur without oxygen. But we are aerobic, so we will be requiring oxygen continuously. So from where we will take oxygen? What is the source of oxygen for us?
Ma'am, trees and plants which are giving out oxygen in place of carbon dioxide.
Ultimately, we are taking oxygen from where?
Nature and atmosphere.
From atmosphere. So obviously that oxygen now needs to reach to each and every cell. And the carbon dioxide produced by atmosphere needs to get back to the carbon dioxide produced by each and every cell via respiration should get back to the atmosphere. So two systems work hand in hand for these two processes. One is our respiratory system, which is responsible for exchange of gases, and the circulatory system, which will make sure that the carbon dioxide produced in each and every cell can get back to lungs, and the oxygen taken in the lungs can be reaching to the each and every cell. So this is the reason why this chapter is of utmost importance. हम में से कोई भी अगर अपना नाक बंद करके रहे, after some time we will feel suffocated and your hand automatically will go away from your nose. Okay, so this is how our body makes sure that at no point of time in normal condition we should be deprived of supply of oxygen. So Here, the clear demarcation of breathing and respiration is mentioned. Respiration is an oxidation process by which nutrients of the living cells are oxidized and energy is produced. Okay. Very generic respiration and correct respiration definition, because up to your knowledge, you must be knowing that glucose is only used for respiration. It's not too beta. Others can be also used for a respiration process. And even if it is aerobic or anaerobic, you people are grade 11 student know. You know that even if any ready reaction, oxygen and hydrogen is not there, it can be oxidized and reduced, because oxidation is losing electron and reduction is gaining electron. So in anaerobic respiration, although oxygen is absent, then also oxidation reaction takes place. Whereas breathing is the exchange of O2 from atmosphere with the CO2 produced by the cell. So you can see that breathing is a physical process, whereas respiration is a chemical process. So if I am talking about respiratory organs of lower organisms, they have a very small, simple kind of body. So for them, the respiratory structure is very easy. That is the general body surface. As the number of cells are very less in the body, they can take oxygen and remove CO2 by simple the surface of the body via diffusion method. But in our case, if we go for diffusion, it will take months to reach to the internal part, which is not acceptable. So what is the way out for higher organisms? We have respiratory organs. More developed organisms have moist cuticle. You know, we completed the animal kingdom classification. So you know, cutaneous respiration is one of the outway. Apart from that, in insects, they have tracheal tubes, which is hollow tubes which are responsible for respiration. In aquatic animals, gills are there, which are specially designed to harvest oxygen from water. Okay. Next is us. Our respiratory system is specially designed to harvest oxygen from air. Achha, can you mention why aquatic animals have high rate of respiration or breathing?
Then because as the oxygen in the water is less, so they require more fast respiration to get the oxygen.
Very good. Very good. It's correct. Definitely. So, in most vertebrate, it is pulmonary process. So, if you look into the respiratory system of human, it is divided into two parts. One is the air tract or air passage, and another is the paired lungs. So, it will start from here. This is the air tract, and these are the two lungs. But this is the broad outline. Obviously, we need to go for the detailed structure. So in this case, air passage or air tract is the part which is directly not participating in exchange of gas. So what is its role? It is the part through which we are obtaining oxygen or releasing CO2 to and from the atmosphere. So it will transport the atmospheric air into alveoli. Next is air tract will start from here and here. So you know, in our nasal passage, we have small thin hairs. These hairs are responsible for cleaning air from foreign particles. Apart from that, it will humidify the air and bring it to the body temperature. You must have noticed, if you put a glass in front of your mouth and exhale, you can see moisture particles embedded in the surface of glass. So that is due to humidification of air that is coming out of our respiratory system. So what are the pathway of air? First, you will go to external nostril. It is here. These are the external nostril. Then it will go to nasal passage. So if you look into the structure, from external nostril or near, in between there is a corridor-like structure which is called nasal passage. So this nasal passage is very, very, very important because it is responsible for trapping the dust and dirt particles and responsible for filtering the air. Inside the nasal passage, there is internal nares or internal nostrils. Let me draw it so that it will be more clear for you for understanding. Consider if this is the nose, these are external nares. Then there will be a passage, and then there will be an internal layer. Similarly, you know now that in our mouth we have a mouth cavity, buccal cavity, which will also open in a common chamber, and this common chamber is known as pharynx. Okay, so nasal cavity or nasal chamber is there. After passage, there is a nasal cavity or chamber. Then there is nasopharynx. There will be presence of glottis. The way epiglottis was there, here glottis is there. Then it will go to larynx or voice box. From larynx, it will go to trachea. Actually, larynx and trachea stay side by side. Larynx or voice box is getting some amount of air because it will be responsible for vibration of the vocal cord to create the sound. So trachea is this part. You can see the parts over here very clearly that these are external nostril. So this is external nostril. This part is nasal cavity. Okay. After nasal cavity, and this is the oral cavity. So both of them are opening into a pharynx. Pharynx has the two parts. One is called nasopharynx, which is close to the internal nares or internal holes through which nasal chamber is opening into pharynx, and it has a cavity through which mouth is connected to the pharynx, which is called oropharynx. And third part of pharynx is close to larynx, and it is called laryngopharynx. So three parts of pharynx: nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. After pharynx and larynx, it will come here into the trachea. So trachea is also known as windpipe because it carries the air to the lungs. Now this trachea will be branched. It is divided into two parts. The moment it is divided into two parts, we call it bronchus. Bronchus in singular, bronchi in plural. So as two of them are there, 1, 2, that's why we are calling it bronchi. Okay, two are there, you can see. One is here, other one is here. One is going to the left lungs, other is going to the right lung. After entering into the lungs, it will again subdivide. You can see that this is the primary bronchus. After entering, this primary bronchus will subdivide to form secondary bronchus. So this was primary, this is secondary, and secondary bronchus will be subdivided into tertiary bronchus. Can you see my pointer on the screen written as biology?
Yes, ma'am.
So then further there will be subdivision which is called as bronchioles and terminal bronchioles. If you check at the end of bronchioles, they are not open pipe-like structure. At the end of bronchioles, you have spherical structures like this, and they are closed sac-like. We call this end of bronchioles as alveoli. Alveoli wall is very, very thin and it is having elasticity. So whenever lungs, we say we can even like realize that when we inhale, the lungs get enlarged. So actually lung is getting enlarged because alveoli is getting enlarged. Lungs are full of alveoli, so it is the structural and functional unit of lungs. And this alveoli is very important because here is the part where gaseous exchange takes place. Is this part clear to all of you? The pathway of movement of oxygen.
Yes, ma'am.
So, so this is the human respiratory system structure. Now we will talk about them part by part. You can see that first we will talk about the air passage or air tract. Okay. So if I'm talking about air passage or air tract, the most important part that I wish to talk is about larynx. Larynx is a voice box inside which there is a stretchable string-like structure, that is vocal cord is present. The thickness or length of vocal cord decide the quality of the voice. During swallowing, the glottis is closed by epiglottis. So glottis is the pore and the thin cartilaginous flap which is closing glottis is called epiglottis. You can see here, this is the epiglottis. Okay. Now trachea is the structure which has half rings. Can you tell me why trachea has half rings? Why trachea cannot be simply a pipe? Why it should have a half ring structure? Anyone? Because when air forcibly go inside, if it is a membranous structure, then it may tear. And if it is made up of bone completely, then it will not have flexibility. When I am twisting like this, my head, the trachea is bending, no? That flexibility is possible. आप काइट उड़ाते हो आसमान में संक्रांति के टाइम पे?
Yes.
उत्तरायण में उड़ाते हैं ना, तो तब काइट को पता है सिर्फ पेपर से बनी हुई काइट चलेगी क्या?
No, ma'am.
फट जाएगी ना बेटा. So we have to give it a framework. तो बहुत भारी और सॉलिड काइट भी नहीं चलेगा. So same way, the trachea is having this C-shaped rings. They are there for the support. Okay. Now we will talk about the lungs. Lungs is situated in the chamber which is called thoracic chamber. I told you the chamber from here to the bottom part, is actually divided into two parts via a muscular membrane called diaphragm. The chamber above diaphragm is called thoracic cavity, and the chamber below diaphragm is called abdominal cavity. So you can see diaphragm is here. So this is how lungs are located. The right lungs is slightly bigger and it has 3 lobes, and left lungs is slightly smaller and 2 lobes. Can you suggest why?
Ma'am, because on left side there is liver which makes it small.
Left side what?
Ma'am, on the left side of the diagram, there will be the liver located below the diaphragm, due to which it is slightly upward.
It's due to heart, beta. Okay, it's due to heart. Heart is present here in this location. Now, each lung is covered by a double-layered pleura. Pleura is a membrane which is responsible for covering the lungs. So, outside the outer layer of pleura is called parietal pleura, and the inner layer of pleura is called visceral pleura. Okay, and there is a pleura fluid present in between, and these two layers are having pleural fluid, which is responsible for lubrication of the surface. So lungs actually, when expand and contract, it is not causing any kind of damage. So that is ensured by the pleura. So each lungs is made up of bronchi and bronchioles. Bronchioles are smallest. As I mentioned, that trachea divide to form bronchi, then primary, secondary, tertiary bronchi, and then from at the end there will be bronchioles. And each bronchiole will be terminated as a cell structure called alveoli. So, and that's why alveoli is called as a structural and functional unit of the lungs. In our next lecture, we will talk about the steps of respiration, that is how gaseous exchange takes place. And then we will talk about respiratory disorders and other parts of this chapter. So that is all from my side today. Anyone, any question?
No, ma'am.
No question. So I request all of you to go through the part I taught to you. And if we will be initiating tomorrow, so that you can come up with the doubts. Okay. So bye to all of you.